Good afternoon, guys. This is my podcast for PN4048. So, the issue or theme I want to look at is in relation to the junior cycle engineering specification that's going out in September. So, I specifically want to look at the project element of the assessment. So, as part of the project element of the specification, the SEC are still going to prescribe the project just like before. So, my issue is looking at, is there a gap in the specification and if it can be improved? So this led me to my research question. Would the introduction of design-based projects that have a real-world application lead to greater student capability in junior cycle engineering? So in terms of the literature I started looking at in relation to project-based learning, I began looking at project-based learning in metalwork and the content-based approach to project making and design and comparing that to this new specification. So in relation to that, I looked at Emer Smith's longitudinal study of junior cycle pupils in 2010 and looking at Oliver McGar's curriculum analysis in 2010. And the main thing Oliver McGar found that stood out to me was in technology subjects, he looked at, are projects actually meaningful? So that question really stood out to me. So followed on by examining what project-based learning is and why it's important, as well as looking at if teachers are preparing students to be technologically capable, was something I found really interesting. And Andrew Doyle's paper was highlighting what practicing teachers think about technology education and student capability and all these different kind of things, and it's really interesting to see what current practicing teachers are doing and if they're essentially just teaching to an exam or teaching to assessment, because the pressure of summative assessment is quite prevalent in schools. So to examine it on a deeper level, I observed the concept of innovative project-based learning by Huang in 2017, just to look at some ideas that could be brought into Irish secondary schools, just to maybe freshen it up, or could they have a potential impact on Irish technology education as a whole. So to look at my question, I decided to devise a mixed methods approach so I can look at it through more than one lens. So for quantitative data, I take two groups of junior cycle pupils and use an experimental group that gets a design-based project, such as a water conservation system for the home as an example. And the control group would engage in a normal SEC project and compare the results between them, just to see is there a massive gap in the type of learning that could be had in either project, or if one is potentially better than the other, just to see. And then in terms of qualitative data, I'd interview practicing teachers to gather their opinions to discuss the new junior cycle and compare their answers using a thematic analysis until thematic saturation occurs. So I think it's important to see what they think about the new junior cycle, and in particular the project-based element of it, and if it has changed in their opinion or if it stayed the same and why that might be. And if there is a change, what could it potentially look like, or what should it be? So then implications for practice. So this could potentially aid practice as well as policy in Irish secondary schools by changing the landscape of the assessment model. It could allow children to engage in a task that gives them more opportunity to think more critically and engage with design more appropriately by putting a design-based project with a real-world application kind of cap on it. And then if the findings prove that the design-based projects are the way forward, it lets the junior cycle achieve what it aims to set out to do, which could lead to more beneficial learning for pupils in the long run, which I think is the crux of what we do as teachers and what the specification aims to do. So I think it is important to look at that. Thanks very much, guys. This has been my podcast.